press conference. Today, we are happy to invite Vice Minister Yan Dong from the Ministry of Commerce to brief you on commerce work and development in 2025, and we'll also take your questions. We also have Director General Yang Mu from Consumption Promotion Department of MOFCOM, Director General Wang Zhihua for Department of Foreign Trade, and official from Department of Foreign Investment Administration. Now I'd like to give the floor to Vice Minister Yan Dong. Friends from the press, good afternoon. Thank you very much for your attention to and support for commerce work. I'm delighted to have the opportunity to join you with my colleagues and share with you the situation of commerce development. 2025 is an extraordinary year. Under the strong leadership of the CPC Central Committee, with Comrade Xi as the core, MOFCOM has followed through the decisions and arrangements made by the Central Committee and the State Council, based its efforts on its three important roles, met challenges head-on, and strove to make smooth progress generally in commerce development, making positive contribution to the continued rebounding and growth of China's economy. The achievements we've made in the past year are as follows. First, efforts to boost consumption are gaining stronger traction. We have worked to enhance people's well-being while increasing consumer spending. We have leveraged both policies and events, built the brand of shopping in China, and continuously unlocked consumption potential. China's total retail sales of consumer goods surpassed 50 trillion yuan for the first time, reaching 50.1 trillion yuan in 2025, up by 3.7% year-on-year. The contribution of final consumption expenditure to economic growth increased to 52%, up by 5 percentage points. In terms of goods consumption, we implemented the upgraded version of trading programs. As such, sales of autos, home appliances, and phones reached 2.61 trillion yuan, benefiting 366 million consumers. In terms of services consumption, we carried out the initiative to improve service consumption quality to benefit people. Services retail sales increased by 5.5% throughout the year. Spending on culture, sports, and entertainment, travel consultation, and rental services, as well as transportation, registered double-digit growth. In terms of new consumption scenarios, we launched the pilot program for developing an internationalized consumption environment. The refined departure tax refund policy has nearly doubled tax refund sales. Second, foreign trade remains resilient. We effectively addressed external pressure and challenges, coordinated development of goods trade, services trade, and digital trade as three pillars, vigorously diversified export markets, and promoted trade innovation and development. Trade volume hit a record high. Total imports and exports of goods reached 45.47 trillion yuan, up by 3.8%. Between January and November, the total imports and exports of services totaled 7.2 trillion yuan, up by 7.1%. Trade businesses are becoming more dynamic. More than 780,000 businesses engaged in import and export activities. The share of private enterprises in the total foreign trade value rose to 57.3%. We attach greater importance to more balanced growth in import and export. Major expos like the CIIE were successfully hosted, and the Big Market for All Export to China series of events successfully held to facilitate the entry and sales of high-quality goods from across the world. Third, two-way investment continues to expand. In attracting FDI, we stepped up efforts to attract and utilize foreign investment, expand voluntary opening up of services sector in an orderly manner, and continue to enhance the Invest in China brand. Last year, over 70,000 new FIEs were established in China, up by 19.1%. China attracted 747.69 billion yuan of FDI, 32.3% of which flowed into high-tech industry. As for ODI, we advanced international cooperation on industrial and supply chains, facilitated integration of trade and investment, deepened economic and trade cooperation under the Belt and Road Initiative, and enhanced the comprehensive service system for overseas investments. Last year, China's total ODI in non-financial sectors grew by 1.6% to 1 trillion yuan. Newly signed contract value for foreign contracted projects reached 2.1 trillion yuan, up by 8.5%. Fourth, multilateral and bilateral cooperation delivered fruitful results. Bilaterally, under the strategic guidance of Head of State Diplomacy, China-U.S. economic and trade consultations have yielded positive outcomes and boosted confidence in the world economy. We signed the China-ASEAN FTA 3.0 upgrade protocol with ASEAN, brought into force the China-Maldives FTA, and implemented unilateral opening up measures such as zero tariff treatment to 100% of tariff lines for all APEC countries, with which China has diplomatic relations, providing greater certainty and positive energy for global development. So far, China has signed 24 FTAs with 31 countries and regions. China's trade with its FTA partners accounts for 45% of its total goods trade. Multilaterally, China announced that it would not seek new special and differential treatment in current and future WTO negotiations, worked with many UN agencies, APEC, the SCO, BRICS, and G20 to yield concrete outcomes in economic and trade development. The International Economic and Trade Cooperation Initiative on Green Mining and Minerals, proposed by China, has seen participation by more than 20 countries and international organizations to facilitate win-win cooperation. Going forward, MOFCOM will implement the important plans made at the Central Economic Work Conference in earnest, focus on strengthening domestic circulation, boosting domestic and international economic flows, and expanding global economic flows, and strive for high-quality development of commerce so as to contribute to a successful beginning of the 15th five-year plan period. So much for my brief opening remarks. My colleagues and I would like to take your questions. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Yan Dong, for the briefing. Now the floor is open. Please specify the agencies you're with. Thank you. Bonnier Magazine. The Central Economic Work Conference proposed to push for high-quality development of Belt and Road cooperation. So what's MOFCOM's next plan? Thank you for your question. In 2025, MOFCOM has worked to translate President Xi's important instructions on Belt and Road cooperation into concrete progress with Belt and Road partner countries. We have made contribution to building an open world economy and a community with a shared future for humanity. There are 3 new features. First, new bright spots in trade. In 2025, China's trade with Belt and Road partner countries hit 23.6 trillion yuan, up by 6.3% year-on-year. That is 2.5 percentage points higher than the overall growth in trade. Such trade represents 51.9% of China's total trade. In terms of trade structure, China's exports of electronic components and machinery to partner countries and the imports of computers and components from these Belt and Road partner countries both maintained good growth momentum, boosting industrial development in Belt and Road partner countries. In terms of business models, we hosted the Silk Road e-commerce benefiting the world event, which was attended by over 100 countries, with over 240 cooperation outcomes being achieved. More quality products from Belt and Road partner countries have entered China's market. Second, new dynamism in two-way investment. In 2025, Chinese direct investment in non-financial sectors in Belt and Road partner countries totaled 283.36 billion yuan, up by 18%. Belt and Road partner countries' direct investment in China totaled 116.81 billion yuan, up by 1.9%. Cooperation areas continue to expand. China signed 18 new cooperation documents with Belt and Road partner countries in fields of industrial supply chains, digital economy, and green mining. We also vigorously advanced the 2 countries' twin parks cooperation with Malaysia and Indonesia respectively. Third, new progress in projects. In 2025, the total turnover of contracted projects undertaken by Chinese companies in Belt and Road partner countries was 1.1 trillion yuan, up by 9.6%. China-Europe Railway Express services exceeded 20,000 trips in 2025. Projects like China-Kyrgyzstan-Uzbekistan Railway and Hungary-Serbia Railway have made major progress. We organized and carried out over 700 assistance projects, including landmark projects and small yet smart projects. Going forward, we will continue to follow through President Xi Jinping's instructions and the plans of the Central Economic Work Conference, focusing on these 4 areas. First, enhance trade connectivity. We will work to negotiate and sign FTAs and establish trade connectivity working groups with more Belt and Road partner countries who share the same aspiration. We will continue to foster the Export to China brand, leverage the CIIE and other major expos to expand imports from Belt and Road partner countries. We will facilitate the development of trade corridors such as the China-CR Express and New Land Sea Trade Corridor. Second, optimize two-way investment. We will host Invest in China events to attract more investment from Belt and Road partner countries. We will provide guidance for rational and orderly cross-border distribution of industrial and supply chains by leveraging overseas or cross-border economic cooperation zones, twin parks, and other platforms, and signing cooperation documents on industrial and supply chains. Third, expand cooperation in emerging sectors. We will work to conclude more cooperation agreements in emerging fields, to deepen cooperation in green mining, clean energy, digital economy, and artificial intelligence. We will foster more Silk Road e-commerce partnerships and advance high-quality construction of Silk Road e-commerce cooperation up to high standard. Fourth, develop high-quality projects. We will promote coordinated development of landmark and small yet smart projects, ensure high-quality implementation of overseas contracted projects and assistance projects, and keep advancing Juncao brand and other small yet smart projects to help Belt and Road partner countries to improve their infrastructure, production, and living standards, and to achieve shared development. Thank you. Thank you. Next question, please. Thank you. From Chinese news agency. Consumption is an important engine for economic growth. In 2025, consumption market has improved in both scale and quality. So what are the bright spots and features of consumption market in 2025? Thank you for your question. I want to thank you for your care for China's consumer market. In 2025, we across the commerce system vigorously advanced the special initiative to boost consumption, consumer goods trading program, high-quality development of services consumption, and shopping in China series of events to continuously unleash consumption potential. The consumption market maintained a steady growth momentum. China's total retail sales of consumer goods, as introduced by Vice Minister Yan Dong, reached 50.1 trillion yuan in 2025, surpassing the 50 trillion yuan mark for the first time. The contribution of final consumption expenditure to economic growth was 52%. Consumption remains a main engine of economic growth. It has the following features. Spending on big-ticket items grew fast. In 2025, driven by the trading program, the sales of relevant products. For example, the home appliances, communication equipment, and furniture increased by 11%, 20.9%, and 14.6% respectively. Sales of passenger cars grew 3.8%. New forms of consumption are also booming. New forms of consumption characterized by green, healthy, and smart choices continue to gain traction. New models and new scenarios keep emerging. Online sales of physical goods grew by 5.2%. NEV passenger car market penetration rate was 53.9%. Rural consumption remains robust. County business system continues to develop. Rural consumption potential is unlocked expeditiously. Rural retail sales of consumer goods stood at 6.8 trillion yuan, up by 4.1%. That is 0.5 percentage points faster than in cities. Inbound consumption is gaining momentum. As China applies visa-free policies to more countries and refines departure tax refund policies, China travel and China shopping remain popular. Sales of tax refund goods nearly doubled. 1 year into the implementation of visa-free transit policy, the number of visa-free foreign entries increased by nearly 30%. Thank you. Thank you. For the next question. I'm from the paper. We want to learn in 2026 what will China do to attract and utilize foreign direct investment as the work about the foreign pilot free trade zones and port.
Thank you for your question. 2026 marks the beginning of the 15th five-year plan. We will implement the guiding principles of the 20th National Congress of CPC and plenaries, and we will unswervingly expand the high-standard opening up and shape new edges of attracting foreign investments and deeper reform of foreign investment promotion mechanisms, polish invest in China brand, and implement the strategy for upgrading pilot FTZs and contribute to a sound beginning of 14th five-year plan. We will conduct work from 4 aspects. First, We will focus on the service industry, expand market access, and opening sectors. We will promote the opening up in sectors including telecommunication, healthcare, and education, and implement pilot programs. We will support foreign companies extend their value chains and achieve professional, integrated, and smart development. We will promote the upgrading of service industry. In opening areas, we will ensure market access and accommodating business environment for foreign investment. Second, we will optimize support policies for foreign investment. We will implement policies including ensuring foreign investors use profits in China to make direct investments, to get tax credits, and the industry catalog of encouraging industry catalog for encouraging foreign investment, and we will treat domestic and foreign companies equally in boosting consumption, government procurement, and tendering. Third, we will improve the service system of foreign investment. We will focus on granting national treatment for foreign enterprises and continue to improve our services to address their foreign companies' concerns, to take companies' request list into our service list and help them address their difficulties. Fourth, we will create opening up highlands. We will optimize and adjust the plannings of pilot free trade zones to provide border space and more carriers for pilot programs. China will deeply align with international high-standard economic and trade rules and conduct greater institutional opening experiments, support pilot free trade zones in conducting integrated innovation in emerging industries in line with local conditions, and accelerate the service industries, opening up comprehensive demonstration programs, and continue to release dividends of institutional innovation. Thank you. Please raise your questions. In the second row, please. Thank you. I'm from Yicai TV. In 2026, with growing trade barriers, how do you take off the foreign trade this year, and what measures will you take to support high-quality development of foreign trade? I will answer your questions. Thank you very much. Vice Minister Yan Dong has share some information for 2026. As you shared, there are some profound changes. There are both challenges and opportunities, and more uncertainties and unpredictable factors. However, Chinese economy has stable fundamentals, and there are still many favorable conditions in foreign trade. In 2026, MOFCOM will conscientiously implement plannings of the CPC Central Committee, stabilize foreign trade, and expand opening up of the service market, and make contribution to the 15th five-year plan. First, we will strengthen our policies. We will release a set of policies encouraging foreign trade and provide sound services for foreign trade, and to help companies reduce cost and enhance efficiency. We will further make interpretations of policies to stabilize expectation and boost confidence, release new policies, and innovate supporting measures. Second, we will expand markets. We will strengthen our support for companies in participating overseas exhibitions and hold the 139th and 140th Canton Fair, and help companies in matchmaking. Third, we will accelerate innovation. We will guide cross-border e-commerce comprehensive demonstration zone in developing cross-border e-commerce innovation, empowered industries, and support green trade and increase the competitiveness of low-carbon products and support AI-empowered foreign trade. Fourth, we will promote balanced development. We will polish the brand of export to China and select key countries to hold matchmaking and import promotion activities, provide matchmaking platforms, and fifth, we will develop trading services. We will improve the negative list management system and expand market opening up. And we will further establish the demonstration zone of innovative development of trading services to expand producer services export and encourage integrated development of IP and human resources. And we will encourage professional service institutions, including designing, consultation, finance, accounting, and legal institutions to enhance their international service capabilities. We will also encourage service export of Chinese education, traditional Chinese medicine, and Chinese cuisine, and release more policies encouraging tourism and inbound consumption. Sixth, we will develop digital trade. We will launch the National Digital Trade Demonstration Zone and promote the alignment between international and domestic digital trade standards. We will hold the Global Digital Trade Expo and provide international platform for exhibitors and buyers.
Thank you. Let me take your question. Thank you for your question. In 2025, under the strategic guidance of the two presidents, China and the U.S. conducted 5 rounds of trade negotiations in the spirit of equality, respect, and reciprocity, and yielded a series of positive outcomes. This fully shows that China and the U.S. can find solutions through equal-footed dialogue and consultation. Since the two presidents met in Busan, the two sides have maintained communication at various levels via the China-U.S. Economic and Trade Consultation Mechanism in a bid to jointly advance the implementation of the important common understandings of the two presidents and the outcomes of the consultations in Kuala Lumpur. Going forward, China is ready to work with the U.S. to follow the principle of mutual respect, peaceful coexistence, and win-win cooperation to jointly uphold and implement the consensus of the two presidents, make good use of the consultation mechanism, manage differences, while advancing cooperation and promote stable, sound, and sustainable development of China-U.S. trade and economic relations. Thank you. Thank you from China News Agency. What contributions did China make in upholding the multilateral trading system and advancing WTO reforms?
Thank you for your question. In 2025, global trade moves forward amid turbulences. China, as a major trading country and a responsible major developing country, China actively takes pragmatic measures to stabilize international economic and trade order. First, China firmly upholds the multilateral trading system. China announced that in the current and future WTO negotiations, it will not seek special and differential treatment. The international community highly appreciates it, and the WTO Director General Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala said this measure demonstrates China's firm commitment to building a more balanced and fairer global trade system. Second, China participates in WTO reform. China submitted proposals to the WTO, advocates for basic principles such as the non-discriminatory principle, and put forward the SDR approach, featuring stability as the cornerstone, development as the priority, and reform as the pathway. And this is supported by many members. China actively participates consultations of reform and supports improving functions of the WTO. Third, China actively aligns with international high-standard economic and trade rules. MOFCOM works with competent authorities to issue the working plan in supporting Beijing in piloting WTO's e-commerce agreement. China is the first WTO member to implement the e-commerce agreement. This reflects China's determination of expanding high-standard opening up and provides reference for other members' implementation of the agreement. Fourth, China continues to fulfill its commitments. The General Office of State Council issued opinions on further improving trade policy compliance with WTO rules. Against the backdrop of certain countries' abuse of unilateral tariffs, China proactively strengthens trade policies compliance and build international business environment, which demonstrates China's consistent position in upholding the multilateral trading system and complying with the WTO rules. The year of 2026 marks the 25th anniversary of China's accession to the WTO. China has grown from a receiver of rules into an active participator and an important contributor. China will participate in the work of the WTO more actively. First, China will promote a successful MC14. China advocates that MC14 should send a strong signal of supporting the multilateral trading system and should achieve development-oriented outcomes in issues such as the incorporation of investment facilitation for development agreements into WTO legal framework and the zero tariff of electronic transmission. Second, China promotes WTO's reform in the right direction. China agrees on the improvement of the decision-making mechanism and calls for more members joining the MPIA. China supports setting new rules on issues including industrial policies, trade and environment, and trade and AI, so as to better meet the demands from the industry and the needs of the time. Third, China supports that development should be put at the center of the WTO agenda. China will deepen its cooperation with global South countries and provide more global public goods. China continues to support the AI for Trade initiative, make contribution under the South-South cooperation framework within its capabilities, enhance developing members' capability in participating in international economic and trade negotiations so as to benefit more from the multilateral trading system. Thank you. Thank you, Vice Minister Yan. I noticed the journalist is raising his hands, so the floor is yours.
Thank you for your question. I think this is a twofold question. One is about foreign trade and another is about consumption. So I'd like to take the first part of the question and then I'll refer to my colleague to take your second part of the question. In 2025, China's foreign trade forged ahead amid pressure and maintained a steady growth momentum. And China has contributed to the shared prosperity and the common development of China's trading partners with its own development. And it has three new features. First, thanks to the well-fledged industrial and supply chains and ongoing innovation, China's products, in terms of the design, quality, efficiency, and services, have both improved and diverse. Chinese products provided more options to the global consumers to meet their differentiated demands. China is also deeply engaged in global division of labor and cooperation, and China serves as a reliable and stable supplier of intermediate goods and capital goods, contributing to industrial development and industrialization agenda of all countries, particularly developing countries. China is also seizing the opportunities of the shift to green and low carbon industries, and China continues to provide green products to the rest of the world. In 2025, the exports of wind turbines and lithium-ion batteries increased by 48.7% and 26.2%, contributing to the green development across the world. In 2026, China will continue to promote high-standard opening up, adhere to more balanced development of foreign trade, and China is willing to continue to serve as the world factory as well as the world market, and China will provide more opportunities for the goods and services for the rest of the world, and China will also present new impetus to the world for China's new development. And now I'd like to ask my colleague to take the second part of your question. Thank you. As we've just briefed you, China's total retail sales of consumer goods in 2025 surpassed the 50 trillion yuan mark for the first time, registering a steady growth. This fully speaks to the vigor and resilience of the huge market of China. Next year marks the beginning of the 15th five-year plan period. MOFCOM will continue to follow through the decisions and arrangements of the CPC Central Committee and the State Council, continue to expand domestic demand, and further carry out the special initiative to boost the consumption and foster the Shopping in China brand. And we will make our contribution to build the uniform national market and high-quality development. We will leverage policies and events to create new scenarios. First, we will further implement the trading programs and in advanced pilot consumption of big-ticket items and advanced pilot reform in vehicle distribution and consumption, and launch a pilot program for prize awarding invoices. Maybe you have already noticed that last weekend, the pilot program of the cities for prize awarding invoices are published. And we'll work to introduce practical and effective policy measures such as the blue economy. Second, we will create atmosphere for consumption through events, focusing on goods consumption, services consumption, and consumption scenarios. We will launch over 20 events, Shopping in China theme, and we will organize 15 pilot cities for building internationalized consumption environment to host the city roadshows and support localities in staging local roadshows to create a consumption atmosphere characterized by diverse, distinct events under a uniform theme. Third, we will improve consumption environment through refined scenarios. We will speed up development of international consumption centers, advance pilot programs for building internationalized consumption environment and new forms, models, and scenarios of consumption, create a batch of high-profile new consumption scenarios with broad appeal so as to enable consumers from home and abroad to enjoy a better life. Thank you. Thank you. I'm from National Business Daily. I'd like to ask what China has done to advance the globally oriented high-standard FTA network, and what will China do in this regard? Thank you for your question. In 2025, MOFCOM worked actively to build a globally oriented network of high-standard FTAs and produced fruitful results. First, higher level of opening up. We signed the China-ASEAN FTA 3.0 upgrade protocol, incorporating rules in emerging sectors such as the digital economy, green economy, supply chain, and standard cooperation to deepen soft connectivity in the region. Second, wider coverage. We made progress in the FTA negotiations with 6 Pacific Island countries and the Republic of the Congo. Third, greater dividends. We worked to bring into force China's trade or investment agreements with the Maldives and Tajikistan, ensured high-quality implementation of signed FTAs, including the RCEP, which is well known, and helped businesses to enjoy real benefits of those agreements. We proactively aligned with the CPTPP and deeper rules. Through deeper domestic reform to unleash dividends of institutional opening up. In addition, we upgraded investment treaties with Kazakhstan and Russia. In 2026, we will focus on the quantity, quality, and outcomes to advance China's regional and bilateral trade and investment agreements to present new opportunities for the world with China's new development. In terms of the quantity, we will continue to advance cooperation with the GCC, Switzerland, the ROK, New Zealand, Pacific Island countries, Central Asian countries, and African countries on FTAs. We will continue to speed up investment treaty negotiations with focus on Belt and Road partner countries to create a corridor of high-quality investment treaties. In terms of quality, we will expand voluntary opening up, especially in services sector, to enhance investment facilitation and liberalization, as well as investment protection level. We will work to incorporate high-standard rules on digital economy and a green economy. In terms of outcomes, we will continue to ensure enforcement of the agreements, leverage high-standard international trade rules as a driving force in domestic reform in the fields of IP protection, industrial subsidies, environment standards, labor protection, and government procurement, so as to achieve alignment of rules, regulations, management, and standards. Thank you. Thank you. From Dezhou News, we noted that MOFCOM has worked with relevant ministries, have recently released the guiding opinions on further improving overseas comprehensive services system. So what will MOFCOM do next?
Thank you for your question. I will answer this question. In October 2025, with the approval of the State Council, MOFCOM and for competent authorities issued the guiding opinions on further improving overseas comprehensive service system. The guiding opinions implements the CPC Central Committee's planning, focus on establishing an overseas comprehensive service system in line with China's foreign trade scale and developments. It's the first guiding documents in overseas comprehensive service. Next, MOFCOM will work with competent authorities, focus on national platforms and the local service stations and overseas stations and professional institutions, and to create a service ecosystem featuring coordination between central governments and the local areas and regional coordination, integrated resources. And Ho Ching, first, we will establish a national overseas comprehensive service platform. We will coordinate service resources in foreign affairs, legal affairs, fiscal and taxation, finance, economic and trade, and logistics and customs and trade promotion. We will, following the common demands of companies going overseas, including policy consultation, country information, and resource matchmaking, we will provide a one-window, one-stop service platform, which will be released on MOFCOM's website. Second, we support localities to establish comprehensive overseas service stations and enhance online and offline services. And there are some achievements. For example, Zhejiang Province established overseas comprehensive service platforms and achieves one platform, one window, and one certificate in foreign investment, and significantly boosts service efficiency. And Shanghai integrates current existing platform resources and released comprehensive service platforms. And Shenzhen develops the e-station for companies going overseas, focusing on products, investments, and services to help companies go overseas in an orderly manner. Third, we will establish overseas comprehensive service station and improve overseas services. We support Chinese business chambers and associations overseas, economic and trade cooperation zones, and China's legal service institutions in establishing service stations overseas and address companies' requests and provide continued service for companies going overseas and help them expand overseas market. Fourth, we will develop an international and professional service institutions to move from general services to targeted empowerment, focusing on difficulties. We will encourage legal, financial, insurance, and accounting and logistics professional services to go overseas together with companies to innovate products and services. Last question. The third row. Thank you. I'm from the CNR. Recently, the service consumption is gaining more and more attention. So, what are the next plannings and measures in boosting service consumption? Thank you for your care about service consumption. My colleagues have introduced relevant measures. As for service consumptions, I'd like to give some detailed introduction. Service consumption features higher consumption frequency, greater multiplier effect, and sustainable growth. It plays an important role in expanding domestic demand and improving people's livelihoods. MOFCOM conscientiously implements the plannings of the CPC Central Committee and the State Council, takes the lead in boosting service consumption, work with competent authorities to release support policies, innovate consumption scenarios, and establish platforms in order to boost the prosperous development of the service consumption market. And, I'd like to share three aspects. First, service consumption maintains rapid growth. In 2025, service retail sale grew by 5.5% year-on-year, and service consumption expenditure per capita increased by 4.5% year-on-year, accounting for 46.1% in consumption expenditure per capita. Second, key sectors develop rapidly. The retail sale in culture, sports, entertainment, telecommunication, tourism, consultation, leasing, and transportation maintains double-digit growth. And service consumption expenditure in education, culture, and entertainment per capita increase by 9.4% year-on-year. And in the whole year, there are 2,485 tourist trains, up by 33.6% year-on-year. The catering industry's income reached 5.8 trillion yuan, up by 3.2% year-on-year. Third, the service consumption market is more vibrant. Some local sports competitions, such as Su Super League and BEIJING, went popular, and the movie哪吒 2 reached a historic breakthrough in China's movie industry, and travels following sports contests and exploring food through movies has become the new trend. New business models and formats such as low-altitude flights, cruise and yacht tourism, and tourism and performance develops rapidly, expanding new space for service consumption. Next, we will continue to leverage the mechanism for boosting service consumption development, continue to expand service consumption, and promote high-quality development of service consumption. We will conduct our work from the three aspects. First, we will continue to optimize the service supply. We will continue to carry out the upgrading initiative of service consumption, work with competent authorities to improve the supply of service in areas including culture, tourism, entertainment, catering and accommodation, and sports and healthcare. We'll expand high-standard opening up of the service industry, implement pilot programs in sectors including cloud computing, biotechnologies, and wholly foreign-owned hospitals, guide foreign investment to the area of service consumption to provide more high-quality and diversified supply of service. Meanwhile, we eliminate unreasonable restrictions in service consumption that prevents consumption upgrading, reduce invisible barriers, and encourage market players to compete on a level playing field. Second, we cultivate new growth points of service consumption, including transportation, online audiovisual services, tourism, automobile aftermarket service, and inbound consumption. We will further refine supporting policies, carry out more pilot programs, cultivate high-quality brands, and inject new impetus into relevant areas so as to better meet people's new demand of service consumption. Third, we will innovate diversified consumption scenario. We will accelerate pilot programs in new business formats, new models, and new scenarios of consumption, fully leverage the guiding role of pilot cities, encourage integrated development of tourism, commerce, culture, sports, and health. We will create a batch of high-profile new consumption scenarios with broad appeal, with key consumption-boosting activities such as the service consumption season and the China Cuisine Exhibition. We will guide local authorities create integrated consumption scenarios featuring tourism, food, IP, and sports, so as to provide more diversified and more convenient consumption experience. The press conference is concluded. Thank you very much.